India has halted production at a pharmaceutical factory after cough medicine produced there was linked to the deaths of children in the Gambia. The health minister for the state of Haryana says the facility violated several protocols. It follows a medical alert issued by the World Health Organization last week. Well, the WHO warned cough syrups made in India could be linked to the deaths of nearly 70 children in the West African state. Lab samples showed the medicine was contaminated. Well, India is the world's largest exporter of generic drugs, but its regulatory structure is widely seen as inadequate. The framework has been criticised for being fragmented and disorganised, with the central authority lacking autonomy. And with dozens of state regulators and health departments, coordination is difficult. Well, this has led to poor enforcement of rules on drugs and a lack of accountability. Well, let's bring in Prashant Reddy. He's a lawyer and co-author of The Truth Pill, The Myth of Drug Regulation in India. He joins us from New Delhi. Welcome to the programme. Now, this latest issue in the Gambia is not the first such or similar controversy, is it?
Yes, you're right. Unfortunately, since 1972, we've recorded at least 5 such mass casualty events due to adulterated cough syrup. And for example, in 1998, 33 children died on the outskirts of Delhi. The most recent event in India was in January 2020, where 12 children died from the region of Jammu because they had consumed adulterated cough syrup. So yes, you're right. This is unfortunately not something new to the Indian pharmaceutical industry. It's been a repeated problem.
So why does the regulatory system in India appear to be so fragmented? Why is this?
Well, I mean, this is the Indian drug regulatory law is a very old law. It was enacted in 1940 when India was still a British colony, and it hasn't changed much since then. So we have a system of having a regulator for every state and union territory, which licenses manufacturing. Plus, we have a central regulator, which takes care of imports and drug approvals. So at the end of the day, India has around 38 regulators with limited jurisdictions. They're all limited to their own states. And a lot of bad actors slip through the cracks. Now, since 1954, the government has been trying to consolidate this entire framework and create a more unified, cohesive regulator. But it's important to understand that the Indian pharmaceutical industry is a very powerful entity within the country. And a lot of them are completely against a more unified system because they know that would increase the quality and efficiency of regulation and perhaps then also increase costs of manufacturing drugs. So we presume that opposition from the industry is one of the main reasons that we don't have a more cohesive, unified regulatory structure in India.
But the government in India might say, look, in this particular case, all production at the factory has been stopped and more action might be taken. So something is being done.
Well, I mean, that's a little too late, right, after 66 dead children. But we have been, my co-author, Dinesh Thakur, who will be here today with us, we have been researching about this company ever since the scandal broke out last week, because during the course of researching this book, we created our own database of information. And we found several instances where the same company accused of the tragedy in Gambia has been hauled up by different state governments within India. And apparently, it was also blacklisted by the Vietnamese government in 2014 or 2016, one of those 2 years. So this company had a history of basically being hauled up. And we've seen this pattern play out because the company that was accused of the tragedy in Jammu, North India, in 2020, which killed 12 children, was flagged 19 times, according to independent reporting by different regulators within the Indian state. So these companies keep escaping serious liability, and they finally come to a stage where they commit a gross error, which leads to tragedies like this. So
OK. That said, forgive me for interrupting, that said, countries that accept these drugs, though, shouldn't they play a role in this, some kind of responsibility as well?
Well, yes. I mean, so typically the US and Europeans who have well-funded regulators send over their inspectors to inspect Indian plants before they can manufacture and export to those territories. But a lot of African countries simply don't have the resources to do so. And Indian manufacturers unfortunately know that, which is why they export substandard medicine to those countries. In fact, there has been even an academic paper that came out 6, 7 years ago, which said exactly this, that drugs, Indian drugs that were drawn from the African market and tested failed at a higher rate than drugs that were taken from other better regulated markets.
OK, we'll leave it there. Prashant, Reddy, we very much appreciate your insights here today. Thank you.
Thank you.